Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the latest generation for the Ducati Panigale V4. Huge shout out to 704 Exotics for providing this bike for me today. Definitely take a look at their website because they're always getting in some awesome pre-owned inventory. That link is down in the description below. So the V4 behind me used to be a red bike. It has been modified, now it is full carbon fiber. These have a starting MSRP right around $23,000. And powering the V4 is a Desmos Dici Stradale 90 degree V4. Its displacement measures in at 1103 cc's. This is paired with the 6-speed hydraulic wet clutch with the Ducati Quick Shift. It pumps out 215.5 horsepower, 91.2 pound-feet of torque. That power is chain driven to the rear wheel. This has a dry weight of 386 pounds. 0 to 60 can happen in as quick as 3 seconds, up to its top speed of 186 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 4.4 gallons. You can expect to see right around 140 miles through a full tank. This also has a wheelbase of 57.8 inches. Its overall length is 83. It has a width of 31.7, a height of 44.5. Its seat height measures in at 33.5, and it also has wheel travel of 5.1 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this V4, like I mentioned earlier, this used to be a red bike and now it is full carbon fiber. So it has a very sinister look to it, but of course having all of the carbon fiber gives it that extra added exterior appearance. So let's start up front where we have the windshield, of course, with the Ducati badge in the lower section, carbon fiber of course coming down both sides, where we have the headlight and high beams just underneath that. This bike also has DRLs, and then the turn signals are probably one of the smallest that I have seen. Of course, these are aftermarket, but they are functional. You can see them probably a little bit better at nighttime. But on both sides of the headlights and the high beams, check out these aerodynamic fins that poke out. Gives it a pretty cool look, and of course that extra aero. Now the front fender is also carbon fiber. This has a fully adjustable Showa shock with the 43 millimeter fork. It also has two 330 millimeter semi-coated discs with 4 piston calipers. Of course they are Brembos there. And one thing that you'll note too, we have some more aerodynamic fins on both sides of the windshield. However, these are adjustable. So simply just pull them up. Now you have your side mirrors. So check that out. On a bike, usually using your eyesight for visibility is much better, but if you want to have the side mirrors, you can quickly pop them up, but it's going to be easier to scan your blind spots with your head, of course, so just turning left and right. Really cool to see that though, if you don't want to have them poked out. As we work our way to the side now, you guessed it, more carbon fiber. You can even see the clutch. It's basically the focal point of this side of the bike. We have an aluminum frame for the construction as well. And then this actually has a dual exhaust system with this aftermarket exhaust. So you'll notice one pipe coming out that side, and then the other pipe is actually hidden over on this side, just underneath that swing arm. Pretty cool to see. It's a loud exhaust system, so we'll start it up in just a little bit. And then as we work our way to the rear, as you can tell, this has a swing arm with the single arm on that opposite side, so you can't see anything on that side. But we have the fully adjustable swing arm, 245 millimeter for the rear brakes with the 2 piston calipers. And for the wheels, we have the 5-spoke design with the 17-inch wheel, both front and rear. Has a really good design to it, and with everything being carbon fiber, has a great look. Now, one thing that has not changed, I believe that is the factory license plate holder with the factory turn signals. Would be cool to see that tucked away or eliminated, of course. You can always do that afterwards. And then this is basically a one-person bike. There's no rear pegs, there's no rear seat. We have more carbon fiber with a little bit of a cushion, so that way when you're doing your 0 to 60 times, you don't fall off the back of the bike. And we have some large cutouts with the brake light running just above that. So let's work our way to all of the electronics now for this Ducati. You'll notice too that we have more carbon fiber surrounding part of the gas tank. Ducati is spelled out on the top there, and then we have the fuel cap there, which you can lock and unlock, of course, for safety reasons in order to gain access to the fuel. So by inserting the key, if I just turn it once to the right, that will turn on all of the electronics for this bike. Now with the handlebars in that position, if I push this down and to the left, that is actually how you can lock it. So when you park the bike, it's going to be hard for somebody to steal it and take it away. But let's turn the electronics back on, where we have a digital screen to go through a lot of info. Now, over on the right side, this bike does have some aftermarket bar ends. It's actually pretty neat to see. It gives you a little bit more protection for that front brake if the bike were to go down. We have the throttle, of course. This even has heated grips with a few different settings, and then you have your engine start and your kill switch with that red control. Over on the left side, this is the clutch, of course, and then we also have the flashers for your high beams. There's the hazards, your headlights. Turn signals are located in the bottom along with the horn. And then we also have two different selectors here to go through the gauge cluster. So you'll notice right now on the left side, you can see that the bike is currently in neutral, and we have a few other lights that are popping up because the electronics are on and the bike has not been started yet. But with the massive digital screen, there's your tach along with what gear you're in on that right side. And on the left side, you can see some other vitals like the engine temperature along with the driving mode that you are in and a few other settings in that lower left. Now, if I use the mode and enter button on the left of the handlebars, I can scroll through lap timers, go into the settings menu. You have the riding modes, so it's currently in sport. We also have street as well. And then if we go back, we have a code. You can go into your laps, so I'm assuming your timers that you can set up and have ready to go. You have different lap data. There's the backlighting, the DRLs, and you have a few other things that you can configure. Seems to be pretty easy to go through all of this. You also have your odometer, there's trip information, and then fuel averages. Looks like so far this is averaging around 33.5 mpg. I'm not sure the riding style for that number. You have the outside temperature and a few other things to control. If I use the other dial that has select on it with the plus and minus, now we can go through the traction control as well as your wheelie control, I believe. There's the engine braking control, so you can go through all of these and set them up the way that you would like to. Pretty cool to be able to do that. So once you have more experience with this bike, you can really dial it in to the settings that you want for the day. This also has the stabilizer bar for the handlebars, of course, and then some brushed aluminum accents for the top of the forks there. But now let's go ahead and fire this up. So we'll put the kill switch in the up position. That reveals the engine start underneath. And as long as we're in neutral, we can bring this to life. All right, so as we hop on the Ducati Panigale now, I don't get to get on bikes like this a lot. And I mentioned earlier that this has the quick shift in it. So right now I am up to 6th gear and I have yet to use the clutch. You can also do that on the downshifts as well, which I think is very cool. You can definitely have a lot of fun on this bike. Regardless of using the clutch, you do have to use the clutch in order to come to a stop and of course to take off. So right now I do need to pull the clutch in. I'm just going to go through the gears again, get it into neutral here while we are ready to go. From here, just like every other bike, letting the clutch out. Woo, that's pretty quick. That my camera's coming down. Wow. You can hear the pops in that aftermarket exhaust too, which sounds really good. One thing that I like about this bike so far is the riding position is pretty comfortable. It's basically like any other sport bike like this, I would assume. I have a CBR 600 that I rode to ride and review this, and it's pretty similar. You know, there's going to be a few minor differences here and there, but so far I feel super comfortable for the style bike that this is. This is a bike that you're going to be hunched down, you know, doing some speeds in it, taking it to some mountain roads, taking it out on the track, things like that. And I have been in sport mode for the test drive so far. There's a few others. I didn't mention the race modes that you can go into as well. And once we straighten out here, we'll give it a little bit more gas. I mean, it's going to shift as fast as you want it to shift, and however fast you can actually shift it, which is very cool. But let's pull over for a sec. I got my one mirror there. I think you have to be in neutral in order to go through the different driving modes. So let's come to a stop here. Yep, so you cannot be moving while you're doing the sport modes, which is a good safety feature. Let's put it into race mode. We can exit out of that. And then on the other side, I haven't messed with any of these settings here as far as the engine braking and things like that. That's definitely something that you would dial in after you have a lot of experience on this bike. I only have a few miles on it, so I'm just going to leave them where they are. They range between 1 and 5. And I'm obviously short shifting. This bike redlines to almost 16,000. It's going to be a quick bike. You're going to be able to get to 60 in first gear by itself. You won't have to shift in order to go through those gears, that's for sure. But from what I can tell, it's a very powerful bike. It sounds really good with this exhaust on it. It's a one-person bike, so if you want to go out for a cruise, it's a good track basically style bike. If you're just taking this around the city, I mean, I could really see this, buying this as a track bike. You're taking it to the mountains. You're really ripping on this like the previous owner, I think, did with the wear on the tires. It was an experienced rider who owned this bike, and I think that's probably the level of comfort if you're buying this bike. You want to be an experienced rider. You could probably be a beginner if you put everything to the lowest settings. It would be a bike that you would learn how to ease into and basically learn the bike as you go. I really do love the quick shifter though. My bike does not have that, and I can see it being a lot easier to ride for sure, just because that's one less thing that you have to worry about. But you can use the clutch if you want to. You don't have to just do it as a quick shift. You can use the clutch too, but it takes a lot more time, of course. And the bike will rev match for you as you not use the clutch there. But this is a really cool bike. Really not much else I can talk about since I'm not going to do any performance style driving with it in today's video. It's definitely a cool bike though. It's got a lot of power to it. And it sounds so good. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this Ducati Panigale V4. Once again, huge shout out to 704 Exotics for providing this bike. Check out their website, give this video a huge thumbs up, consider smashing that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on our daily uploads, and I will see you all in the next video.